He does the same thing. He does the same thing as his forefathers. In fact, he says it slept with his fathers.
Yep.
The very word slept with your fathers is an acronym saying he did the same evil things that his forefathers had done.
Yep.
Even after the word, even after knowing, he does that.
King, bad king.
What God had spoken affected his actions. The king does not listen. Now we're back to Rehoboam. The king in 12, 7, and 8. Let's jump up to 12, 7, and 8.
Second Kings.
1 Kings 12, 7, and 8. Rehoboam went to Shechem. Well, I'll start at verse 1. For all the Israelites had gone there to make him king. When Jeroboam, son of Nebat, heard this, he was still in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon. He returned from Egypt. So they sent for Jeroboam, and he and the whole assembly of Israel went to Rehoboam and said to him. So Jeroboam goes to Rehoboam and speaks to him. Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but now lighten up the harsh labor and the heavy yoke he put on us, and we will serve you. And they don't listen. God already spoke. Because it says he goes and he consults the elders who served his father Solomon during his lifetime. How would you advise me to answer these people? They replied in verse 7, if today you will be a servant to these people and serve them and give them a favorable answer, they will be your servants. Here God is saying through the elders, give them a favorable answer, lighten up, serve them, and they will be your servants.
Yeah.
God speaks. Does he know that that's the final answer, or does he consult?
Oh, what do you think?
It says, but he rejected the advice of the elders. He rejected the advice of the elders and consulted the young men he had grown up with and were serving him. He not only doesn't listen, but he consults how many people, how many concubines and foreign wives did Solomon have? Who did he actually grow up with?
A whole bunch.
It says he had 800 some, 700 to 800 wives and concubines, including the Pharaoh's sister, I believe, from Egypt. Many, many.
All the bites. Yeah.
Those were the ones he grew up with, and now they were serving him. The men he grew up with, that's strike one. If you're going to ask someone, he should have been wise enough. That's why I said it's wiser and stupidest. Who he consults with. I mean, he shouldn't have consulted anyone, but he chose them. And they were serving him. That's the second thing. The people he's asking are the very people that are going to give him an answer he wants to hear.
Yeah.
Because if they give him any other answer, they're serving him. They don't have much to do. Because they're serving him and there's nothing to do because there's such a tight hand on these other nations that they're doing all the work.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're the servant, that makes them the servants to everyone else. They didn't want that. They didn't want everyone else lightening up because they'd have to work.
That's right.
So, second thing.
Bunch of yes men.
Yes men.
Socialism.
And they were looking at themselves. Think about how many politicians are out there that if anything goes up to a vote, they're going to look out for themselves first. Or pastors.
Yeah.
If anything happens to the church, they're going to look out for themselves. Anyone in leadership, the first thought is to look out for yourself. So, are you going to go ask God? Or are you going to go ask the other person that's going to give you an answer that's going to serve himself? Because that's the human spirit. If you ask someone, they're going to give you part of their answer, part of their wisdom is going to be what they think. And what they think is, I don't want to do that, and then they're going to give you the answer. So you're seeking someone from a place you're not supposed to go seeking, and someone that's going to be thinking instead of listening to God.
Self-preservation.
The king consults the young men he grew up with. There's an influence. Don't let your inner circle distract and influence your actions.
Amen.
That inner circle could be pastors, it could be preachers, it could be prophets, it could be anyone else. If God has spoken, you don't need to ask anyone else. You don't need to have 3 confirmations of what you're supposed to do.
Hello.
There's no need for that. If God tells you to go from point A to point B, you go from point A to point B. Otherwise, you might not meet that person on the way. By the time you get there, that person's going to be gone.
Amen.
By the time you get your 3 confirmations, the point God wanted you, He's already sent someone else
Right.
that heard it and listened and went.
Yep.
They dropped what, like the New Testament, they dropped the nets and they walked away.
That's a word, Jesus. Amen.
Elisha, he burnt the plow. He left. And he said, can I go back to my mom and dad? And he said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it never says he does. It said he burnt the plow and he took all the meat and gave it away to all the people. And then he left.
Party.
When the disciples dropped the nets, they went.
That's right.
It doesn't say they went back to their family and took care of business.
That's right.
So when God speaks, it's the final answer. And when He speaks, it's time to act. It's time to submit.
Hello.
So the influence, don't let your inner circle distract your influence and your actions. If God has spoken, submit. Don't ask others. 3 and 4. Points 3 and 4 really go together. When we know God's mind, we must submit. And if God has already spoken, His answer is your final answer. But what does He do? What does He say? In 12:14, 12:14, part B. I will make it heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions. His father used whips. He's going to use scorpions. Whips will hurt you, but they won't kill you.
Right.
Scorpions will attack you, and they will kill you. Multiple scorpion bites will take you down. Not only was he going to increase the strength hold, because he said, my finger is stronger than my dad's waist, my pinky.
Kenny, I can't believe that.
There's more strength in his pinky. There's more strength.
So prophetic.
And he says that.
Amen.
My father used whips, but I'm going to use scorpions.
It's going to get worse.
Scorpion bites. They are so lethal. When I was in the Army, and we're on the Iraq border, right around August to September 11th, after that, maybe till November.
You get some dandies over there, boy.
It was a warning, do not play with the scorpions.
Hello.
But you know, the soldiers have scorpion fights. Oh, let's see if your scorpion beat my scorpion. And they get a big box and throw the scorpions in until they kill each other. They will go until the death. And they don't touch them. It's not a good idea. You know, it takes a little bit of wisdom.
Hello. Duh.
So what happens? What does he say? What does he do and what does he say? And why did he do it? God spoke, he didn't listen, he asked others, and he did something and he said something. All the Israelites go home. Rehoboam in 12:17, it says he still ruled those living in the towns of Judah only. 1 Kings 12:17. What God spoke came. In 12:20, only the tribe of Judah remained loyal to the house of David. One tribe. 1 Kings 12:22. Last week we talked about that someone was coming on your behalf with a random arrow. And that arrow was going to defeat the mob in your life. Here we have another someone, but it says some prophet.